Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be fishing another creek in Lancaster County. This is a creek I never fished before, but I've read a few things about and said that it had a really good fly fishing section. So we're heading down to Lancaster and we're going to be fishing Donegal Creek. So stay tuned guys as we try to land some nice wild brown trout. So what I know about the creek is it's a 6-mile tributary that meets another tributary approximately half a mile up from the Susquehanna River, and then it flows in there. Upstream on Donegal, there's a place called Donegal Springs, which is a spring creek that keeps Donegal nice and cold. The other thing I know about the stream is that the Donegal Fish and Conservation Association takes care of the stream to make sure that it stays clean and healthy for the wild brown trout. That's why it's a good trout fishery for wild brown trout, which is what we're here for. Ooh. Coloration on the caudal. First brown trout, Donegal Creek. Let's get this thing released. There it goes. Beautiful rainbow on Donegal Creek. Let's get this winner back in the water. There it goes. There it is. So far we've been fishing. We landed a nice brown trout, landed a nice rainbow. Kind of took me for a little run, which was cool. Or one con that I have about this creek is I've been getting eaten alive by mosquitoes. And it seems every access point I try to go into, there's itchweed. If you guys ever ran into itchweed, it's super gnarly. It's went through my waders. It has like a little sting to it after about 5 seconds. So kind of a little bit miserable, but we're having a pretty successful day. So we're gonna keep going up just a little bit further on the fly fishing only section and see if we can't pull out another trout or two. So stay tuned guys. Wow. Beautiful brook trout. Alright guys, here I'm Donegal Creek. I'm in Lancaster County and just landed a beautiful brook trout and landed a rainbow and also landed a nice brown. So check out that brook trout guys. Get this fish here back in the water. Nice healthy brook trout. There it goes. Sweet. Where you get brook trout, you get creek chubs. There's a little bait for the river. Ooh, wild brown. Alright guys, so we just landed another wild brown here on Donegal Creek. Alright guys, so we're in the fly fishing section here. It's a call, catch and release here at Donegal. Really small stream. Had multiple bites. Landed 4 rainbow of brook trout and 2 wild browns, and I'm finished. I don't want to put too much pressure on this creek because it is just pretty narrow and small. But this right here is our wild brown right here. Beautiful colors, and we're gonna get this fish right here back into the water as fast as we can here. So there it goes. So there we go guys, landing another wild brown. All right, guys, so we landed that last wild brown. It was beautiful. It actually put up a really good fight. That's what I love so much about fishing wild browns, is that the fight that they give, you don't think could come from such a small fish, but you know, that's why we chase the wild browns. The other thing is, you know, when I fish these areas, I usually use like a 3-weight rod. I like to feel that they're, you know, I like to have the excitement of that fight and not be able just to pop them out. We did land another trifecta, I guess, for Pennsylvania, where we did a brown, a rainbow, and then probably the biggest brook trout that I've caught in a really long time, which was super exciting and surprised me that they had that in there. The one note I do want to make, guys, is that this fly fishing only section is all private property. I do want to hit on that. It's very important for us as fishermen to make sure that when we're fishing these fisheries that the landowners allow us to come on to, is that we need to pick up all of our stuff, guys. I think that goes without saying. I'm hoping that a lot of my viewers are very ethical fishermen and that they're picking up all their trash and stuff, because this landowner could just as easily switch it off like that and we wouldn't have access to this beautiful fishery. But it is, you know, it is very important for us as a fishing, as the fishing culture, to police ourselves and make sure that we are picking up all of our trash, because, you know, we could easily lose a spot like this and we wouldn't have any access to it. I was recently up there fishing the quiddy, and I was trying to fish the snits, just an example, and you know, I wasn't able to fish that because it was all posted by private property. There's wild browns in there I'd love to fish, but you know, I'm not sure why it was all posted. But you know, like I said, we need to police ourselves, guys, and pick up all of our trash. And you know, that kind of goes without saying when we're fishing on somebody else's property. So last thing I want to say, you know, this is kind of a well-known stream. It's a pretty popular fly fishing only section. You can tell by all the trails that go back in there. But with that being said, it was probably one of the more productive sections that I fished in a while. It's only about anywhere from 10 to 16 feet across at areas. So I really didn't want to fish it that much. So I only fished maybe a quarter mile of it, just because it was so small. It's 90 degrees today. We're kind of getting to that weird area where, you know, we got to start checking the water temperatures and stuff when we're fishing wild trout and make sure that we're not going to overexhaust them during a fight. But all in all, you know, it was a great fishery. I would encourage anybody who's in the area to come down and check it out. You know, I don't think you guys will have a bad day if you fished it. So until next time, guys, keep those lines tight, keep that water clean, and maybe I'll see you guys on the next stream.